Hello, it's Karen Burniston, and today I have an assembly video for one of my die sets. This is die number 1035, The Knight and the Dragon, and you can check out all of my designs at karenburniston.com. This is how I will style them for today's video, but the beauty of dies is that you get to make your own choices. There are 10 dies in the set. I've placed them here on a magnet sheet, and then I went to my scrap bin and I pulled all the colors that I'll need to cut those pieces. These little guys are small, and what's nice about that is that you can cut everything at the same time. So you can see I've placed all my dies on the various colors on top of my platform for my die cutting machine. I'm using a Sizzix Big Shot, but you can use any die cutting machine that can accommodate a wafer thin die. First up for assembly is the dragon. Several details are cut into the piece by the die, like his nostrils and those defining lines around his legs. But there is also a stencil feature on the die, and that's used to add his eyes and his mouth and the details to his wings. So for that, I'm just using a fine black pen and then using the die as a stencil. The dragon's belly die is another one that has an optional stencil emboss feature on it. This time I'm using a sponge with some ink to add those details to the belly piece. And then the way the belly piece goes onto the dragon is similar to all the other animal dies in my collection. You just slide the belly up under his hands and then tuck it under the chin. And that will hold itself in place, but it's always a good idea to add just a drop of glue to hold it in there permanently. I'm using my trusty fine tip bottle filled with Lineco neutral pH adhesive. We do sell both of those items on our website. I'll use a pink colored pencil to add a little color to his mouth. Then there is that heart that comes in the set. He looks particularly cute holding that heart, so I'll add that. And then the last little bit of optional decoration for the dragon would be to add his flame, to have him breathe fire. That's another one that has an optional stencil feature on it. If I sponge a little orange ink down onto that flame, then I'll get that little two-tone look pretty easily. That flame can go on either side of his face at whatever angle you want. I usually just put a little spot of glue on his cheek and then just press that flame to it. And that is how you assemble the dragon. Now let's look at the knight assembly. I cut both the knight and then all of the detail pieces out of the same dark gray cardstock, and then I'll just add glue to the 6 spots that get the highlighting pieces. So those are his feet, his shoulders, and his gloves. The highlighting pieces are optional. They just add a dimension to the armor. The face visor is also a separate piece, and I just glue that onto the helmet and it lines up perfectly on the sides. Next, I'll layer the 2 shield pieces together. A great thing to use to make all of the shiny parts shiny would be a metallic ink pad. So I've got one here that's in like a silver platinum, and I'm just going to brush that out on the metal end of the sword and around the edges of the shield. Now this is optional, but one way that you can decorate the shield would be to cut another sword. That's what I did here out of black, and then I'll just put that over the top of the shield and cut off the excess. Now I'll use my metallic ink pad on the knight himself, and I'm just going to pounce that ink everywhere. And because it is a layered piece out of that dark gray cardstock, some of that gray is going to show through, which I like because it gives it a more realistic finish. Finally, I will add his plume. Now you do have the option of putting the plume through the little slot at the top of the helmet if you prefer, or you can just glue it behind the helmet, which is what I tend to do. So just a little spot of glue out on the end of the plume, and then just line it up at the top of his helmet at whatever angle you would like and press it into place. His sword can go in either hand at whatever angle you would like, including going out to the outside, however you want to position these 2 pieces. I just use a little bit of glue behind the glove to hold the sword, and then on top of the opposite glove to hold the shield. And I like him because he looks very, very fierce while being also adorably cute. The knight is designed with his visor down so that you never see a face, but if you want to add a face to the knight, I suggest getting the princess and mermaid set because you can trim her head and then it becomes a great head for the knight, and then you would just lift the visor up. Now, what are a knight and a dragon without some great pop-ups to go with them? How about the castle pop-up? Obviously that one's going to work perfectly with the knight and the dragon. You can make flat castles for the fronts of the cards. I've done the knight here on the front of the card, and then inside is the pop-up castle with the dragon perched on one of the towers. The castle pop-up has its own assembly video, so if you check that out, you'll find even more ideas for that castle. Two other dies that work great with the knight and dragon and also have their own videos would be the Fancy Label Accordion and Word Set 5 Royalty. And those were used with the knight and dragon on this project. You can see the perfect sizing on that Fancy Label Accordion to show off the knight and the dragon, and then how nicely the word set can be used to add the greeting. Throughout the videos for this release, you're going to see some amazing, amazing work by my design team. But for this video, I just had to show a couple fun desk shots. I love this first shot. Summerhill's painter was showing the design team a work in progress, which was her birthday banners challenge. And you can see that across the bottom of the shot. But then what I loved about this is that up at the top, you can see what else she's been kind of working on, which were all of these really fun characters for future projects. Another desk shot, and you can see the really great coloring on the dragon here by Kelly Booth and that metallic paper for the knight. You'll find the knight and dragon in some of your favorite stores and websites, including ours, starting February 2018. If you click on the website link, you'll go to KarenBurniston.com, where you can find out information about purchasing these dies, as well as links to all my other social media accounts. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel and check out some of my other videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.